What's up, tennis fans? Sleepy Picks here. We got a few more second round matches to talk about at the Hamburg Open. Let's take a look at the draw. And here's a look at Felix Auger-Aliassime's half of the draw. First match we're going to talk about is Auger-Aliassime against Kovacevic. Kovacevic getting the last second call as a lucky loser to come in and play. He replaced Zizou Bergs and was able to beat Arthur Gia 6-2, 7-6. Which, interestingly enough, Kovacevic lost to Gia in the final round of qualifying in 3 sets. And it's interesting because for me, this is the second time we've seen this. We saw this with Trungeliti and Merida, where you get a lucky loser spot, and all of a sudden it's a rematch of the final round of qualifying. Now, Merida able to win both of those matches, but here Gia losing in straight sets, a little bit frustrating for him there, especially having won and gotten into the main draw, having to play the same guy and losing. But a nice win for Kova. This is the second straight tournament that he's been called up as a lucky loser. Last time he got called up in Rome, made it to a third set, wasn't able to get through that match, but here able to advance to the round of 16. He will take on Felix Auger-Aliassime, who was able to beat Vít Kopčiva 7-5, 6-1. And this was the first set was exactly what we kind of thought. It was going to take Felix time to adjust to Kopčiva's play style. It's a very aggressive, lower bouncing. He takes a lot of the balls early. He can rope the backhand, but Felix was holding with relative ease, so there wasn't really much pressure there. He got pressure on the Kopčiva serve a few games and then finally able to break through 7-5. And then we start to see the Felix game open up a little bit with the forehand, with coming to net. And Kopčiva just has no real answers to that. So a 6-1 set in the second. Nice win for him. Looking at this head-to-head here, it is 2-0 for Felix. They played back in 2024 in Cincinnati. Felix was able to win 6-3, 6-1. That was outdoor hard court. Then they played last year in Montpellier. It was a 6-2, 6-7, 7-6 win for Felix in the finals. And that was indoor hard court there. We know Felix does play relatively well, or relatively better on the indoor hard court surface. Felix is coming in. He's 4-3 on the clay, 3-6 last year, 17-8 the year before. He's coming off a straight set loss to Novoni, and nice for him to get a win over Kopčiva, a solid clay quarter who's been having a good season himself. Especially as Felix has been on a 2-match losing streak with that straight set loss to Alexander Blocks in Madrid and a straight set loss to Novoni. Kova is coming in. He's 5-7 on the clay, 4-7 last year, 5-8 the year before. He is coming off a straight set loss, 6-3, 6-1 to Tabilo in the Valencia Challenger. And as we mentioned in Rome, he did go 3 sets with Bodik van Zandschulp, losing 7-6 in the third. I think this is going to be a pretty straightforward match. I think it's going to be probably like 6-4, 6-3, or maybe like 7-5, 6-4. It'll be a few breaks, and I think Felix is going to be able to handle Kovacevic here. The backhand to me for Kova is still a little bit of a glaring weakness. Today against Gia, he was able to go a little bit more to the middle to kind of neutralize. If he goes cross court, then he's just begging to get another cross-court ball back into his backhand side, and he wants to hit more forehands. He's looking to control the court with the forehand. The only problem is someone like Felix is really going to expose that because Felix takes the ball really early, and Felix likes to attack on his forehand side. He'll be hitting a lot of shots to that Kova backhand, and I think it's going to expose it. So I'm going to go with Felix to advance here in straight sets. And our next match is Buse against Mensik. Buse able to get his signature win on clay this year over Flavio Cobolli, 6-2, 7-5. And got to give Buse a lot of credit. I thought he played very well, especially in the big points. One thing that stood out to me was the Buse down the line backhand. When you think about the patterns that Cobolli wants to create, he's doing a lot of inside out, ripping his big forehand out to that backhand side, and Buse was able to redirect a lot of those shots down the line and force Cobolli on offense using his own pace against him. And I just felt like the court was a little bit too slow for Cobolli's game here. He wasn't really able to hit through. He definitely, obviously him losing this match, people are going to look at this tournament and be like, oh, he didn't really want this, but you could tell he was very motivated, running to the bench. He wanted to win this match, just couldn't really get the on the offense the way he wanted to. So great win for Buse. Mensik able to tough out a straight set win, 7-6, 6-2 over Struff. And this match was close. Mensik had a couple of break points. I think it was at 4-3. And then Struff had a love 40 game against Mensik. Mensik able to fight that off, get to a breaker where he's able to win 7-3 in that breaker. Really nice stuff from Mensik there. And then we saw the first serve of Struff the first serve percentage of Struff started to go down. And that was it really. Mensik able to get a few breaks, win the second set 6-2, and advance to the round of 16. Looking at this head-to-head, no meetings between these two guys yet. We got Buse coming in. He's 12-9 on the clay now, 42-19 last year, 44-24 the year before. He's coming off a loss to Tiafoe in 3 tough sets in Rome. Let's keep in mind, too, that Buse's come through the qualifiers, able to beat Niels McDonald and Hugo Gaston. Gaston actually getting a lucky loser spot below. We'll talk about that match in a second. And now able to get that win over Kaboli. He's got about 3.5 hours, I think. Almost 4 hours, actually, on court. So definitely something we want to look out for. I don't think it'll matter much in this match, but I think if he continues going into the tournament, we'll see potentially a little bit wear and tear on Buse. Mensik coming in, he's 3-2 on the clay, 6-5 last year, 6-4 the year before. He's coming off a 3-set loss to Alexei Popyrin in Rome. He did also play Zverev extremely tight in Madrid. That was a 3-setter as well. We haven't seen much from Mensik on the clay, and for me, just looking at these two guys side by side, I feel like I want to go with Buse. I wasn't really impressed with what I saw from Mensik. I thought he had a lot of dips in his game. The only problem is Struff's dips were much larger. And I don't think Buse is going to have that many dips. And I think this is another kind of step-up match, too, for Buse. I like him in those types of matches rather than playing, a guy that he's expected to win. I always go back to that Manarino match with Buse where, yes, he won 6-4, 6-2, but he was projected to win way easier than that. And the first set was at 4-all in the first. So he tends to struggle a little bit in matches that he's expected to win or win easily. But when he has to have these bigger step-up matches, whether it's against Arthur Fils, that was a 3-setter. Francis Tiafoe, that was a 3-setter. He does step up in these matches. I think Mensik's going to be a very similar case for him there. I love the Buse forehand. He's got a lot of power behind both shots. He moves very well as well. I think this is going to be a nice match for him to get through in straight sets. So give me Buse to advance in 2. Next match is Humbert against Khachanov. Khachanov getting off to a very slow start. He was down 5-0 pretty quickly. Able to fight back a little bit in that first set. And honestly, that was enough to give him confidence to get through the next set. Third set, a lot of back and forth there. Gets to a breaker. Khachanov's able to prevail. Didn't play his best tennis today, but a good win nonetheless. And Humbert, on the other hand, really tough match against Engel. They both played pretty well. And Engel's a guy that we're going to have to look out for soon. He's young, so you can tell there's not a lot of that comfort and experience in playing some of these top tier matches, but he's got a lot of power. I mean, just watching him, even like on his back foot, he was roping forehands. So I think once he gets a little bit stronger, a little bit more experience, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But a great win for Humbert to get through this match. Engel was hitting winners left and right. Humbert able to prevail 7-6 in the third. Both guys 7-6 in the third. Very impressive stuff. And that's really weird. Both their scores are almost identical. Let's take a look at the matchup here. Head-to-head is 1-1 for these guys. They've played twice. First matchup was in 2021. Khachanov able to prevail in the Tokyo Olympics. 7-6, 4-6, 6-3 outdoor hard court. Then Humbert able to beat him in Paris in the indoor hard courts in 2024, 6-7, 6-4, 6-3. Khachanov's coming in. He's 5-4 on the clay, 9-6 last year, 8-4 the year before. Hasn't had a losing season on the clay since 2021. He's coming off a tough 3-set loss to Casper Ruud, and remember that was the one with the rain delays, where Khachanov was able to come out in that second set. Ruud was up 6-1, 1-0, I believe, and Khachanov was able to run off with 6 straight games. Played really well. In that second set, started to take a lot of offense, but then started to go back into a little bit of a defensive mode there, and Ruud was able to take advantage and win that third set 6-2. Ugo Humbert is coming in. He's 3-3 on the clay, 2-5 last year, 5-7 the year before. He's coming off a straight set loss to Dino Prismic, and we kind of expected this. Prismic ran away with that first set, I remember. He was just dominating, hitting forehands left and right, just lots of winners. And then Humbert able to kind of rush him a little bit more, coming into net, put a little bit more pressure on the Prismic forehand side, and got Prismic on his back foot a lot. So he was able to play a little bit tougher there, but not enough to prevail there, losing in straights. I'm going to go with Khachanov here, guys, looking at these two head-to-head. I know it's a 1-1 split, and I know Humbert's won the most recent one, but he does fare a little bit better indoors. I think Khachanov's going to be able to just be a little bit steadier and find some offense when he has to. That first set against Gaston was horrific. I mean, he was making so many errors, couldn't put a ball in the court, didn't look comfortable on the surface. And then he was able to kind of right the wrongs there going into the next couple of sets, and I like that for him to fight through that match. So I'm going to take Khachanov to advance here. I think he's going to win in straight sets. And here's a look at Felix's half with my picks. Looking at this, I kind of like the way the draw's shaping out for Buse. I really think he can make a bit of a run here. It does concern me too going into the French Open. How much energy he's going to have left if he makes it out to a final here. But I think this is a little bit more important for Buse right now in his career to get out to a final of a big time tournament. A lot of opportunity here for him. Got to get through Mensik. Got to get through Khachanov. Those are two tough customers, but he's definitely got the game to do it. On the other side, I think Carabelli's got a good chance to get out to the semifinal to play Buse, and I would take Buse to get to the finals at the very least there if it's Carabelli-Buse. So let me know what you guys think. Post your picks in the comments. Here's a look at Shelton's half of the draw. First match we're going to talk about is Darderi against Hanfmann, and Darderi able to get through Chaga. We had seen this match a little bit earlier this season, and it was a slightly more straightforward for Darderi, but still able to get through this. One of the things that I wanted to look at when we were watching Darderi play today was how the movement was doing, and it was really tough to tell. Chaga didn't have him on the defense that often. Darderi was hitting a lot of times with the ball in front of him, so he was playing the offense, and in those positions it's very difficult to tell how the legs are doing. However, I do question how the recovery is going for Darderi still. But he's got a very nice draw, though, looking out. He was able to advance 6-3, 7-6 today. He will take on Yannick Hanfmann, who was able to get through Max Schuenhaus. And this was a very tricky match. The young Schuenhaus getting a lucky loser spot in to play Hanfmann. And he had a lot of variety. He stepped in a lot on the one. He had the one-handed backhand. Stepped in a lot on the one-handed backhand. Played a lot of points that were a little bit more mature than what we would expect from a junior level player. So he's got a lot of promise. I think we're going to see more from Schuenhaus later on in his career. I thought he played a pretty smart match against Hanfmann, and Hanfmann just a little bit too classy on the clay, just a little bit too much clay court prowess to get through for Schuenhaus. So Hanfmann advances 6-3, 6-7, 6-4. And now he plays Darderi for the fourth time this year, because we did have that walkover in Marrakesh. Head-to-head is 4-0 for Darderi. Let's go through the 4 matchups that were scored. In Cordoba, they played, it was a 6-3, 6-4 win for Darderi. Then they played, that was in 2023. In 2024, they played again in Cordoba. It was a 7-6, 6-1 win for Darderi. This year, they played in Chile. It was a 7-6, 7-5 win in the finals for Darderi. That was a very nervy match, I think. Looking at the Rome result, where it was a 6-4, 6-4 win for Darderi, you could kind of see I felt like he dominated the majority of that match. I think the Chile match was a little bit close just because of the nerves of winning the final. In Marrakesh, he got the walkover. I'm going to go with Darderi to win again. He hasn't dropped a set to this guy. I think this might be a 3-setter. I just like that, Darderi's going to be able to, again, do the same thing that he did against Burruchaga, keep the ball in front of him. Can Hanfmann push Darderi on the defensive and force him to use those legs, wear him down a little bit more, and see if the Rome tournament will catch up to Darderi here? I'm not sure. I don't think he can, though. I like the way that Darderi's been hitting. He's coming in with a ton of confidence. So I'm going to go Darderi to advance in straight sets. So I get Shelton's half of the draw with our picks. Altmaier already through. He was able to upset Shelton today after Shelton had a chance to serve out that match. Really impressive stuff from Altmaier. And we did say we thought that was going to be a close match. Did not think Altmaier had it in him to win it, but impressive stuff there. We'll talk a little bit more about that match tomorrow. Tommy Paul and Etcheverry, they split 7-6 sets. In the second set, Etcheverry had a chance to serve out the win. Wasn't able to do it at 6-5. Paul's able to win it in a breaker. They're coming back, and they will play one set tomorrow. And Fokina and Demonar, I like Demonar in that match. I think he's going to carry a lot of confidence with him now. Beating Cerundolo, you could tell that win meant a lot to him to get a nice clay court win against a solid clay court player. And I think he's going to outclass Fokina tomorrow. We haven't seen too much great clay court tennis from Fokina yet. Able to get through Mute in the earlier rounds, but I think Demonar is going to be able to beat him in straight sets there. And then looking at who's going to advance to the finals in this draw, I did say I liked Shelton. Now he's out. I'm going to take Tommy Paul. I have questions about how far can Darderi get with those legs, and how far does he want to go with those legs. He needs a little bit of a break before he goes into the French Open, I think. So I'm going to say Tommy Paul will advance to the finals. Let me know what you guys think. Post your picks in the comments. And here's a look at our first round records. 11-3 for the first round. Pretty good. Hopefully we can continue it through the next few rounds. And as always, guys, thanks again for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share your picks in the comments. Share the video. We will have a video out every single night recapping the matches at the Hamburg Open and recapping the matches at the Geneva Open. So definitely check those out. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.